What it do, YouTube/Patreon/Big Shoot. Today's video, I want to chime in with a quick impromptu video. In today's video, I want to talk about the lack of diversity in the marijuana industry. Yes, the lack of diversity in the marijuana industry. First things first, let me say this. I know somebody out there is probably going to say, what do you mean a lack of diversity? There's different minorities that own marijuana businesses that's in the marijuana space. Woo, woo, woo. That's true. But it's still a lack of diversity because last time I checked back in 2017, and I'm still analyzing, coming up with the statistics for 2022. But this is in a recent article that was just posted. I will have the link to that article in the description of this video so you can read it and check it out for yourself so you don't think I'm just big teething. You feel me? So you see what I'm saying? So in 2017, 81% of the marijuana business owners were white. 81%. About 5.2% were Hispanic. Probably about 4.2 were black, so-called, and 2.5% were Asian, something like that, something along those lines. But you will be able to read it for yourself. I'm just paraphrasing. The link will be in the description, so you can look at the article and read it for yourself. And this is a recently published article. But it's a major thing because you have big brands out there like Viola, shout out to Al Harrington, and other businesses, like Cookies, shout out to Burner. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole Cookie Squad. You got people like Jungle Boys, shout out to Ivan. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the whole little collective. You know what I'm saying? Gas House. All these, you got a lot of different brands, man. Really, you got a lot of different brands. You know what I'm saying? But these are like the people that's like in the forefront. You know what I'm saying? But they are speaking out about lack of diversity. And it is a big thing because the people who were mostly affected by the war on drugs, so-called black people. Yes, you have other ethnicities, but the main people who is targeted by that agenda, right? By that agenda were so-called black people, so-called African Americans. I'm saying so-called because that's not who we really are, but that's just what they're trying to classify us as. And in this industry that's now being legal, mainly the people who got punished for this industry were so-called black people. What, 85% of the people that's in prison for non-violent crimes are so-called black people. And then 30, 40 years later, 50 years later, however long they got locked up for, they come out and cannabis is legal. So they got, it's called I think it's called the equal, something like, I don't even want to butcher the name, but it's like, it's an equity program. I don't know if it's called equal equity. I don't think it's that. It's like an equity program, you know what I'm saying? Like equity rights or something like that for people who been wrongfully jailed and had these long sentences and who've been affected. But I personally think that they need to take that bill or that law or whatever for people, minorities who have been affected by the war on drugs, who have been locked up for non-violent crimes. I personally think they need to take that bill and expand it throughout all the states that has legal cannabis, medical and recreational. That's just my opinion. I personally think they should expand that because not just people in California have been affected by the war on drugs. Yes, it's been a lot of history in California on the war on drugs. Yes, you can go look it up. Look up Humboldt County. You know what I'm saying? Look up all that stuff. They got documentaries on it. It's deep. You know what I mean? But it's other places, you know what I'm saying, where cannabis is legal and still illegal, where a lot of people and their family have been affected by the war on drugs. So I personally think they need to take that bill and let minority families, not just that one person, but not minority families, get in on the cannabis industry. Because not just that one person was affected by the war on drugs. It was people's families was affected by that, communities, neighborhoods was affected by this. Real talk, real talk. Come on, man. If you could even go look up Freeway Ricky Ross interview that he did on Drink Champs, you know what I'm saying? He actually talked about how he was in the middle of this whole little war with the what they call the Candinistas, and I can't think of the other name, but it started with an N, and it was like a little war that was going on and shit. I think against the Nicaraguans or something like that. Like it was like something that was going on like in the '80s or whatever. But he explained that whole little thing. And at that time, you know, you still had the Black Panthers and all that type of stuff. And the Black Panthers was being infiltrated, and you know what I'm saying, government agents and FBI agents and CIA agents was infiltrating the Black Panthers, bringing in drugs and all that shit, and you know, money and you know, divide and conquer and all this different stuff. You know what I mean? So it's the same playbook. You know what I mean? It's the same playbook. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't know history, you're gonna repeat it. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta really gotta think about that. But real talk, the lack of diversity in the cannabis industry is major because you got all these big businesses, and you know what I mean, all these white people. And like I said, you know, like I'm not racist, I'm not nothing like that, but I'm just keeping it honest. Like you got all these big businesses and all these white people that got all this money that's coming in this cannabis space, and they taking over the space. But they weren't the ones that was going to jail like that. Yeah, you had some white people that went to jail for weed. Yes, you do. You can look it up. Yes, you do. You got all different type of people that got locked up for nonviolent crimes. But the most people who was affected by it, not even the biggest players or have the biggest amount of equity in this space, in that person and their families, you know, because I'm one of those people that was affected by this as well. You know what I mean? That know how I feel to come from that type of background, you know, poverty, you know, pain, things of that nature, because that's what the war on drugs brought, you know, and that's what's still going on to this day. And it's like you don't even have no loophole, you don't even have no access to the cannabis industry, and you was affected, you and your family was affected. You see what I'm saying? Whether they went to jail or not, whether, you see what I'm saying? So it's like that law needs to be looked at and kind of tweaked a little bit. But I'm glad that they have it. It's a start. But it's like if y'all really want to do this reparations and you know people, oh, nah, motherfucker, this is real. This is real stuff that we really need to talk about. These is real topics, adult topics, mature topics that people need to come to the round table and sit at. You know what I mean, and discuss this stuff. It's a start to reparations. Yes, it's a good start. But I'm just saying though. You know what I mean? I know these things take time. I understand it. I totally understand it. But it just needs to be out in the air. Somebody needs to say it. You see what I'm saying? And me just sitting back watching companies like Viola and watching people like Al Harrington talk about this on Sway. You know what I mean? Talk about this on Drink Champs and stuff like that. And he just talking about it, you know, just on his own platform about the lack of diversity. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you know, when you speak on those type of videos and those type of topics, they don't get that many views because they don't want to push that.